good morning, my beautiful, beautiful friends. Wherever you're watching, across the street, across the city, or across the world, I'm glad you're here. I'm in a really good mood. It didn't start off that way, but I'm ramping up, full of excitement. The more I think about my topic and the more I think about helping you. So give me 4 minutes and we'll chat it up. It is that time of the day, the time where you take a second, take a deep breath, do some self-reflection, some self-study, and we talk about the week past, the week ahead, what we got going on, and how can we help you? How can I make you better? How can you make me better? Hey, I'm a little bit selfish in this world, okay? I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm here for a little bit of Patrick self-love and ego stroking and education. Come on, let's admit it. Let's just put it out there, okay? It's all good. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I say that presumptively because you could be watching this at 1 o'clock in the morning. You could be watching this at 9 o'clock at night. I don't know. Either way, you could be listening on the podcast. Either way, I'm just happy you're here. Happy September 16th, 9:05 a.m. Central. I'm your boy, Patrick Allman from Stop Doing Nothing Media and StopDoingNothing.com, where, I am here to lift you up on your shoulders in your personal life, in your business life. I am here to share my wisdom and knowledge and mistakes and the wisdom and knowledge and mistakes of others to see how we can make you a better person today. You woke up this Monday morning with a certain set of skills, a certain amount of anxiety, a certain amount of angst, a certain amount of stress, but also a certain amount of happiness. So let's see how we can relieve some of that stress, how we can relieve some of that anxiety, how we can help each other out in the process, and then maybe we can each take away some lessons that we can then share with other people, share with our kids, share with our parents, share with our coworkers. Let's see if we can find a way to lift each other up today. That if I had to have one tagline for this show, it is my goal is to lift you up, and in turn, hopefully, you will lift up somebody else on your shoulders today. That's the only way we progress as a society, as a country, as a race, as a gender, as a whatever group, whatever micro group you want to put yourself in. That's how we have progressed over the years. We have learned stuff and we have lifted the later generation up on our shoulders. Or we've tried hard. And that's, I think, one of the things, I don't know if that would be called the human spirit, but that's just one of the things that I've always liked about either living in the country I'm in or just being a part of society in general, is that in general, people try to improve physically, try to improve mentally, try to improve their business. There's various reasons people do it. But as a whole, I like the fact that we as a society try to improve ourselves and we try to improve those around us. And none of that is really more evident that if you go to a school or a place of learning. Some of my favorite places to hang out are just places of learning. And by learning, I don't always mean schools and universities, although those are obviously the easy ones. But any place like a gym, for example. I've talked about this before in previous episodes of the show. I love the fact that at a gym, everyone is there for self-improvement, okay? At Starbucks, some people go to hang out, some people go to chat, some people go to work. There's various reasons people end up at a coffee shop. I ended up at a coffee shop with my buddies on Saturday. But at some place like a gym, people don't go to a gym to hang out. I mean, let's never say never. People go to a gym to improve. So one of the things I really like in this world is rooms of self-improvement. We don't know what we're all working on in this world. We don't know what our faults are. We don't know what's holding us back, what's holding us up. But if we can all gather in a room at a training event or a conference or a gym or something like that where we can improve each other or lift each other up, I cannot think of a better place in the world that I would rather hang out than just a room of room of self-improvement. So what was on my mind today? Oh, I want to kind of reiterate something I talked about on last week's show. And it was because this, for some reason, in my social media feed, this has come up a lot. So it's kind of top of mind for me. People that say they have no money to get something done. So they'll hop into a group of self-improvement, for example, or a technical group, or one of the societies I'm in, a Reddit subreddit, something like that. Excuse me. And they'll want free information and they'll want it to be fed to them because they have no money to buy it. They want to take something, for example, that I purchased and they want me to just give it to them because they don't have the money for it, okay? And to a point, I'm okay with that. But oftentimes when I've invested in myself or I've bought into something else and somebody doesn't want to, when the information is freely out there, I just chose to learn it faster, okay? When the information is freely out there and somebody doesn't want to take the time to learn it, that is something that really bothers me. So one of the things I was talking about last week is the fact that if you don't have money to get something done, you have time, okay? And I want to reiterate that, and I want to give you some quick examples of that because this may apply to you in your situation. Let's talk about, losing weight or getting healthy, okay? Wouldn't it be great if you had money to go hire a personal trainer? If I had an unlimited amount of money, this is what I would do: is I would go and I wanted to get into shape. Okay, I would hire a personal trainer that worked with me, 3 to 4 days a week, and just swore at me and cursed me up and down. Then I would hire a nutritionist. Okay, a really expensive nutritionist that would like come into my house and like scour my cabinets and take all the junk food out and throw it away and go shopping for me and restock it with only good stuff. Okay. I don't have either one of those things. And if you do when you're watching, then kudos to you. I definitely do not have either one of those things. Okay. Wish I did, but I don't. But you know what I do is I have time. So I have time. I can research foods. I can go through my cabinet and I can look at the labels on the back and I can tell you what's healthy and what's not healthy. Okay. I can tell you the ice cream in the freezer is full of sugar and carb, is not healthy. And I can tell you the same with the English muffins. They're not the worst thing in the world. And then I can look in the back of the peanut butter and say peanut butter is high in protein, high in a certain kind of fat, but well, not terribly low in carbs because some peanut butter has sugar. But if you don't have the time to hire a pro to do it or the time to pay for like an app, like what is it? I use MyFitnessPal. If you don't have time for some of that, if you don't have money for some of that stuff, you have the time. So remember that you can make up to a certain point. You can make up for lack of money with an abundance and a committal, a severe committal, a violent committal of time. Violent meaning just you take a massive amount of actions, not actual, physical violence. So just remember that if there's something you want to do, and you want and you just don't have the money for it, you have the time. You have the time to go to a local library, which is free to research stuff. You obviously have plenty of time on the internet to research things. Okay, when it comes to growing a business or marketing, as a matter of fact, this lesson applies to what I'm going to be talking about later. There are times in my life where I haven't had the goodness gracious, I may segue accidentally. When I was younger, for example, we did not have the money for me to go to school. And I wasn't, the concept of student loans didn't really appeal to me. And to tell you the truth, college in general didn't really appeal to me. I know I wanted to get an education, but just, a massive amount of money going to college just wasn't in the cards. So what did I have? Well, I had 4 years of my life I could give up, and that's what I did. I gave it up easily for the military, and I would gladly do it again. But let's not transition too quick. Let's see what else was on my mind. Oh, self-talk. This was a hard lesson for me to learn, and I want you to take this away also. That self-talk in this world is really, really important. Okay, and by self-talk, I mean the words you put in front of your eyes, the things you say to yourself when you encounter certain challenges in life. Okay, and the reason this is top of mind is because number one, it's just a really smart thing to pay attention to. But also on my personal Facebook profile, I shared a David Goggins video today. David was speaking on stage. I'll just give you the quick version of it. David was speaking on stage, and he was doing audience Q&A. And you just love David. David just has no. His fuck bucket was empty a long time ago. David's was, and David was on stage speaking, and it was an open mic. Someone was to the left, or I couldn't really see it, but somebody was asking him a question about losing weight, and the guy was like, I've been on this journey for a little while. This is a summary of it. A journey for a little while, and I've been trying to lose 45 pounds, and I just can't. And David's like, what? Excuse me? So you've been trying to lose weight for a while, and you can't. And the guy said it a more long, drawn out way. And the guy said, yeah. And David said, no, repeat that out loud. And the guy fumbled over it a few times, but eventually David Goggins got the guy to say out loud, because words matter. This is a great example of self-talk. This was such a good example of self-talk. David got the guy to say out loud in his own words, I've been trying to lose weight and I can't. And David's response was one of the more brilliant responses in the world I've ever seen, is, well, I can't fucking help you. Meaning, the guy, by the words he said, the words he was willing to say out loud in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people, I think it was a Lewis Howes event is what it was. The words the guy was willing to say inside of his head, which he had to fabricate or before he said them out loud, was the I can't part. It wasn't, I've tried to lose a bunch of weight and it's really hard and I'm having trouble staying motivated and I'm having trouble staying disciplined. It was, I can't. Those were his words, I can't. And that's one of the reasons to me why, goodness gracious, sorry, why self-talk really is important to ourselves. There are times where we want to do things and we believe that they, for one reason or another, are impossible, okay? Or they're just beyond our reach. And getting back to something I said a little bit earlier, and probably something I'm going to say later, is the fact that a lot of times they're beyond our reach because of the self-talk. They're not beyond our reach because of there may be some financial roadblocks also, but they're not beyond the reach because they are not accomplishable, if that's even a word. Attainable, there we go. Attainable would be a better word. They're not beyond our reach because they're not attainable. If you look at everything you've wanted to do in this world, whether it's lose weight or gain muscle or make $1 million or this or that, you can find countless examples of people who have actually accomplished that thing. Okay. And whether, you're trying to accomplish it at 15 or 50, you're trying to accomplish it because you're broke, because you're homeless, or because you make $1 million a week, there's you can just find examples. You can find, rags to riches stories all over the internet. They're just not hard to find. You can find people that, started working out, like at my age, I'm 56. You can find people that started working out at 56, got really strict with their exercise and their diet routine, and went on to win like bodybuilding championships when they hadn't exercised a day in their lives. You can find people, getting back to the David Goggins example, you can find people like David Goggins, who was, obese, ate like crap, walked around the evenings, and what he was? He was an exterminator. He was an exterminator, and he decided to change his stars, and became a Navy SEAL. Lost all that weight through running, and now he's written a book or two, and he did that. He probably the majority of that was in his mid to late 20s, if not early 30s, and I'm not going to use David Goggins as a particularly. I'm not going to say he's not a role model, but I just don't want. I'm not one who gets obsessed with gurus. Okay, but you can just find countless examples of people who have been in your shoes or worse, and just found a way to put one foot in front of the other and start making progress. Even I have to find this every single day. I don't have all of life's answers. I still make plenty of fuck ups, and I still try to dig myself out of holes every single day from the fuck ups I make. But I for the most part, I believe that I can improve and I can do better in my life, and that's kind of the attitude I wake up every single day with. So this is all kind of wraps around to what I was saying earlier: is that self talk is important. That's why certain hard line words like "I can't," as soon as you hear yourself saying "I can't do something," that should be a red flag to your mind to remember it's time to possibly flip the script and figure out ways to have better self-talk. You can always transform "I can't" into, well, I don't know how right now, and when I do learn how, it will be hard. But at the end, I will really feel good with the results if I can figure out a way to do this. And this also gets back to the fact that most of the really great things we do and we learn in life, the joy of the whole thing comes from the journey. It doesn't come from the end goal. It comes from the journey. If you're somebody who has to eat better, you have to learn how to take joy and take pleasure in the journey of your diet versus the weight loss. For example, let's say I'm 260 pounds, which I am, and I want to get down to 240, 230, 220. As much as I want to focus on that goal, and I do have to be focused on that goal, I have to enjoy the process of the exercise to get there. I have to enjoy the process of preparing and eating the food that it will take to get there, because a good chunk of that will 100% be diet. It'll be some aerobic work. It'll be some muscle work. I've already been at the gym today. Um, that's one of the main ways I wake up. It's even better than coffee. But you have to learn to take joy in that journey, because if you don't, that's where the self talk will really beat you down, and you'll aim high for something, and then eventually your self talk will convince you that you've been working 3 weeks at something and it's just not going to happen for you, and then you'll start flipping into different self talk, which is very, very unhealthy. So self talk matters. Self talk is huge in this life. Um, what do I have coming up this week? Well, I've got we've our got a good queue of clients here at Stop Doing Nothing Media, which is one of the reasons I do this show, is to help you run a better business and do better marketing, especially in the digital marketing space. And so, our queue continues to fill up. If you are a high level user, or you're a high level agency, and you're just not getting a lot of the technical parts of the business, the automations, the strategy, how to generate leads, how to bring that stuff in, please text me here at that number on the screen when it comes up in rotation, 405-217-4752, and just ask for help. We've got, a coaching program we can help you with. that we can basically help you accelerate faster. We've got a team where you can just outsource all of your technical business management to us, and you just go out and shake the trees and kiss the babies and shake the hands. We've got a few different programs and ways to make it to basically help you run your business more efficiently and not get buried in the weeds while we basically grow and cultivate the weeds for you and make sure the weeds turn into roses. Okay. So if you ever need something like that, if you ever know anybody who needs something like that, let me know. We have, an affiliate program where we pay well for people that refer us for monthly retainers. So we've got all kinds of options, especially if the world of digital marketing just verklempt you. The world of digital marketing is easy to me. It's been easy for a few decades. But for some people, it just really throws them off. And so if that's the case, text us or DM here on Facebook or on YouTube, either way, and let me know how we can help you there. Okay. Lessons from doing life the hard way. That was the topic I came up with today, and I'm doing a little bit better about using ClickUp, which is a tool I absolutely love, and planning out my show. So I've actually got my show topics planned like I think 2 weeks out. I worked on that this weekend. Is making sure I dump my brain into ClickUp so I can do a little bit more, a little bit more and a little bit better planning ahead. Lessons from doing life the hard way. So this was on my mind because as I kind of look back on my life a little bit and reflect, I realized that I've made some hard choices. And by hard choices, I don't mean difficult choices. I mean I chose the harder route on certain things. Okay. And we all have a different journey in life. We all have a different path. It's hard to say whether or not one is right or one is wrong or one is better or worse than the other. But probably there are times in my life when I've chosen the more difficult route in things. Okay. One of them, one of the early ones I think I decided on was I didn't, I kind of regret not in high school a little bit, not thinking a little bit further ahead and planning a little bit further ahead when it came to things like education and college. When I came to the end of my formal high school training, I ended up going the military route because there was no option for. There may have been options for loans, I don't know, but there were no options for that it's not like we had, 10,000 or 5,000 or even $1,000 saved in the bank to send me to college. So the difficult, there were three routes I probably could have taken. I probably could have gotten a student loan of some sort because, probably back in the 80s, getting student loans was a lot easier. And so I probably could have gotten a large student loan and gone on to become a doctor or a pilot or whatever. I could have just not done jack shit with my life. I could have just, after I got out of high school, just kind of laid around and mooched off the family and gotten odd jobs, just gone down to McDonald's and worked, 10, 20 years at McDonald's. Wasn't too terribly interested in that. Or one of the other options that I had, which is the route that I took, is I joined the military. So towards the end of my formal high school years, my mother and I started going to all the different. You go down to MEPS, a military entry processing station or recruiting station. You don't go to MEPS till later. You go to a military recruiting area, and all the military branches are there side by side. It's kind of cool. I remember this. I remember even exactly where this was in North Hollywood, California. And so you've got Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, all in the same building side by side. I believe even some of them share walls, and they're probably all kind of poaching recruits from each other, I would imagine. And I just went through and I interviewed with three of the four. I interviewed, Air Force might have been the first one I interviewed with. And at the time, I really wanted to be into technology and software development. I interviewed with the Navy, and I can't remember if it was Marines or Army that I interviewed with. I don't know. But in between one of those, I think I took my ASVAB test. And for those of you who are more mature like I am, you know what the ASVAB was. And I didn't do too bad on the ASVAB test. As a matter of fact, I made it, whatever the score I got, I remember I was pretty attractive to every recruiting office I walked into. So I believe I walked into the Air Force office first, told them, either I'm not sure if I had taken my ASVAB by then or not. But they were very interested because I scored very high for different for just intelligence wise, and probably in mathematics and things like that. So the Air Force wanted me. Okay, and then I interviewed with the Navy. I remember the Navy wanted me because they said my score made it so I would have been very attractive to do nuclear submarine work. And so that's what was kind of pitched to me and offered to me when I was looking at joining the Navy, is to get to be on a military, on a submarine. And at the time, it didn't seem like a very attractive, option to me. I had grown most of my 6'2" by then, and the idea of being, kind of scrunched underneath water in a metal machine where I banged my head all the time on things, wasn't very attractive. And at the time, I was still really into technology and software development. So I went the Air Force route. And this was the middle to the end of 1986. And did my 4 years, met my wife, had a child, and that's been my life. But that might be considered the more difficult route versus going and just getting a bunch of college loans and being in debt forever and getting an education and then getting a formal job after that. Now, on the flip side of that, the military gave you great experience. You got paid for it. You got some really cool, fashionable green clothes or camo clothes or boot clothes. Like I said, you got paid for it. You got room. You got boarding, and you got a free education. You got a free physical training. Some physical training down there in military basic training, and to do that, I didn't know I wanted to at the time, and I didn't have the patriotism I have now. But you also got to serve your country, which to me right now is very, very important. One of the ways one of the ways we've built the country that we have here. So that was probably one of the more difficult early decisions I made in my life, is to go the military route versus um, going the formal education route. And then as I look back now, I wasn't pro military and pro government so much at the time. So I went in with the attitude of I want to do my 4 years and get out. That wasn't probably the smartest decision I could have made at the time. I was, young and dumb. I didn't realize the benefits being offered to me. And so I didn't really work on a degree while I was in the military. I did get some college credits. I was actually able to test out a lot of college classes because I just went in, because the military allows you to go in as you're on your way to a degree. You can test out certain classes. So anything math related, any entries in trigonometry, geometry, I could test out of those easily. Algebra, that stuff came naturally to me. So I tested out a lot of those classes, and the ones I didn't test out of, I actually I took some college classes there. Looking back now, what I should have done when I went in the military is I should have gone in, and right away I should have said I want to be an officer. And that would have, number one, forced me down the college path a little bit harder, because I believe at the time in the military, you give them, you on your way to becoming an officer, you could have I would have had 2 years to work on a 2-year degree, then gotten my commission, and then I would have had to enroll in the military for like another 4 years or another 6 years. I would have had to give them, a much longer commitment, but I also would have gotten more training, and I would have came out of the military as an officer, which would have been a huge, huge benefit to me in life versus being enlisted. Nothing wrong with being enlisted, my enlisted friends, but I chose the hard route. I went in the military and I didn't take advantage of it as much as I should have, and that's definitely something I regret. Whether I had stayed in 4 years or 6 years or 20 years, getting out of imagine going in the military when I was I think it was 18 or 19, and going in for 20 years, getting out as whatever officer rank I would have been. I probably would have become a pilot. Okay. But I would have come out at least as a captain or a major after 10 years in the military. Definitely a captain. I don't know about a major. I don't know at what point in time um, how many years it would have taken to get to some of the upper officer ranks. But that was the more difficult route. If I would have gone in for 10 years, I would have gotten out at 30, and I would have had, or 20. If I would have stayed in for 20, I would have gotten out at right around 40, and had a full government retirement. And I would have entered the world as I would have hit the job market as a military officer with 20 years experience. People would have been beating down my door throwing money at me. Or if I'd gone the pilot route, the airlines would be chomping at the bid for me. I would have my pick of jobs, and it would have made everything else I do, like teaching and motivational speaking, would have made all that stuff easier. So I just chose the harder route there. So a lot of my early life was the education, and choosing the harder routes here. If you've chosen a harder route in life or done more of the self do it myself kind of thing in life, please let me know. Let me know in the comments. In the comments below, I want to know about your journey and what some of the difficult choices you made were that got you to where you are in life. Um, so my lesson in all these is the fact that probably a lot of this was because that's the original point of this is a lot of the self-talk I had younger in life was not the best self-talk. And I probably lost, I don't know, 15 years of my life due to really poor self-talk, which is the topic I was talking about earlier. Another way that I probably in the past 5 or 10 years that I've some of the lessons I've learned from doing things the hard way is the no formal training route and no formal like dietitian route when it comes to my health and wellness, health and my fitness. Um, I've had some training over the years, some physical training. I've belonged to a couple of CrossFit gyms, had some amazing CrossFit coaches that taught me all about just how the body works. Never had a diet, never had a dietitian, which is something that once my budget allows it, that's probably something I can see myself investing in, is just a dietitian to not manage the macro things in life, but to manage the micro things, the micronutrition, the micronutrients, the small little tweak things that I'm not doing, that will really make a difference when it comes to my physical growth and my weight loss and things like that. So, and the business route is another area here where I was taking notes about lessons of doing things the hard ways. I have no formal, business training. There were no college classes I took when I was taking college classes. I took no college classes on business, on finance, on marketing, on branding, on advertising. At the time when I was taking college classes, I wasn't interested in any of that stuff. Okay, so everything I've learned in business has been self-taught. Okay, marketing's been self-taught. Branding, which took me a long time to get close to being right, has been self-taught. The fact that I coach others now and I train others, all that was self-taught. So how I teach and what I teach, all that has been self-taught. I am not a person who buys into a lot of coaching programs. I'm really not, and I don't know, that may be another self-talk issue. But it also might be the fact that I've got plenty of experience of things I can teach people, and I'm very picky about the training that I go through now. But when I was younger, and I had probably a lot more disposable income, I kind of wonder if I should have done that. I should have bought into more trainings and more coaching programs to help me progress through life and progress through business faster. I can't sit here and fester about it, but that would probably be a lesson that I would share with anybody who's in their 20s or early 30s that is watching, is that if you have the opportunity and you have the income to be able to invest in a coach or invest in a mentor, seriously consider it. It will accelerate things. And it's kind of funny because that's kind of what I teach now is I teach how my training and how training of other people that help them formalize their training can accelerate things. I was talking earlier about money and time. Oh, it's so funny how all this comes full circle now. I was talking earlier about money versus time. When you don't have money, you have time. But you know what? When you have money, you have more time and you can accelerate your timeline in life. So if let's say you're watching this show, okay, and you're in your early to mid 20s, and for some reason you've got some cash laying around, and you're not really sure what you should do in life. Should I get some business mentorship? Should I get some marketing mentorship? Should I get some coaching from a personal trainer to, go on to do really good in my sport of choice? Please invest that money. It's going to dramatically shorten the timeline. And that's, again, a lesson I wish I would have learned early in life, is that money spent on training will help you accelerate faster in things, okay? It'll help you accelerate faster in business. It will literally help you accelerate faster in whatever your physical, whatever your physical goals are, dancing or playing a formal sport or just track running, because that's just the first thing that comes as an example when I think about literally being faster. But please, if you are young and you have disposable income, spend it on training, and then allocate part of your monthly budget to regular recurrent training. Okay, it's something that will come back on you tenfold. Now, at the same time, please do not become someone who's a professional student. Okay, have you ever had a friend who just like lives in college? Someone who just got into college when they were 18 or 19, and it's just been a nonstop growing thing. I'm not going to disparage people like that, but there are just some people who never launch. Okay, and we all know people like this. They just, I mean, they try to launch and they end up back home, and they try over and over and over again, and they just never make that leap of whatever it is. Please don't become that person. So kind of stagger your formal training with launching and doing. So train, 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 do, 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 do. Train, train, train some more, do, train, do. Balance out your training and the actual application of the things that you have learned. And then you'll kind of make progress on both there. But that's a early life lesson I guess I wish you would have paid attention to. It's just invest more in coaching, more in training. Branding, that's here in my notes right here. Something I wish I would have done a lot earlier in life is just the concept of formalizing what I believe in when it comes to business and how I share it and what I talk about. I wish that's probably something that a class I wish I would have taken earlier in life is a branding class to help me formalize my thoughts and my image and what I want to present in the world. Because again, that was something I just stumbled through and stumbled onto. And even recently, there are plenty of times where I'm working on growing and building a brand with no formal branding training. So I'm Googling stuff. I'm talking to people who have branding, but I'm sure there's probably a good branding class out there I could take. And please feel free to drop a comment to a branding class that you think I might want to watch. Let me see, what was I going to get here? I was going to get one of these messages up on the screen. Here we go, right there. Is that one? Yeah. Um, so some of the lessons from all of this self-teaching, if you will, are probably number one is you have time or money, and if you've got plenty of time, you can make the money to buy more time, and then when you have more time, you can invest that and grow to make more money. So that would be probably one of the lessons there too. Another lesson would be remember as a reminder that there are people out there in the world that are smarter than you. Okay, they've gone through formal training or they've learned through life experience. Please pay attention to those people, especially if you're up and coming in this world. I'm a more mature person in business, but if you're someone who's in their 20s and 30s, you may get fascinated by people who are very, very young who are doing amazing things. Don't forget the people who are older, even older than me, who have the experience of doing things the hard way. Look to them as mentors. If you're someone who doesn't have a big budget, go to your local SBA, for example, and look at the SCORE program. I believe SCORE stands for Service Corps of Retired Executives, and I believe it might be like a volunteer program that that the SBA has, where you can work with an older executive who has some experience. Now, working with older or more mature people isn't going to be flashy, isn't going to be sexy, if you will. Shut up, watch. Isn't going to be sexy, if you will, but you are still going to have a lot of great life lessons there. So if you learn from really young people, you are going to learn from people who had a stroke of luck and who made some smart decisions and had luck really fast, really early. If you learn from older people, you are going to learn from people who may have had to walk through the fire a few times, who made lessons that impacted them for 10 years, and you can learn from those lessons so you don't have so you don't make those same mistakes. Okay. I'm trying to think of what else. Just kind of going through my notes here of what else I've learned um, from just doing life the hard way. Um, yeah, there are times where I've screwed up in business, and my screw ups are getting less and less. But just making sure my customers are always happy was probably something I learned on early in the business world by not doing that. That kind of really screwed me over, made me lose income, made me lose some business growth, not taking care of my customers. That would have been the other one there. So again, if you have any life lessons yourself, I'm looking at the comments here that of areas where you kind of probably took the long hard route. There we go, taking the long hard route in life or taking the long hard route in business. Um, and as I wrap up here, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with taking the long hard route. It's going to take longer for you to get things done, but you're going to probably learn a lot more. If you're someone who jumps into entrepreneurship for 4 years versus somebody who gets a 4-year degree in entrepreneurship, that 4-year degree person's going to 100% have more book knowledge and probably more well-rounded knowledge. But that person who jumped into the fire with both feet and just kind of learned on the fly, that person is going to have a shit ton of practical knowledge and will probably have accomplished more. I do not regret at all going the entrepreneurship route, because I learned more, and I probably learned I learned a lot of bad things, but I've learned a lot of good things also. So it's a very good route. If you're someone who's a W-2 person and you're watching this or you're listening to the podcast, and you want to go that route, I would highly encourage it. Obviously, make sure you have stuff like a safety net and that you have a plan. And when you have the money, invest in someone like a Patrick or somebody else who can help you get to your goals faster. Okay, because I know we're in this generation where everyone thinks you can just go to YouTube and learn everything. Oh, I don't have to talk to someone about building a website. I can just go to YouTube and learn how to do it in Front Page or Wix or Squarespace or whatever. Oh, I'm not someone who has to learn how to run, Facebook ads. I can just go to Google and learn how to run that. I don't need any formal training from anybody. I can fumble my way through it. Man, don't even try it. Please, please invest in people who have done this stuff before, who can help get you there faster. Okay, that would be my lesson for today. Is there is some glory and there is some fascination with there's some elegance with roughing it through life, but if you have the resources, please don't go that route. Please get some training from people and accelerate your things so you're not so maybe you'll hit gold and you'll be lucky and you'll retire on the beach at 27 and be able to run your whole business from your iPad. That's my goal these days. Is I want to be able to travel and sit on a beach where I have Wi-Fi and have a mojito at 10 o'clock in the morning. Go do a motivational speaking gig at 11 o'clock in the morning, and in all this, just use my iPad. Use my iPad to check my stocks. Use my iPad to have people do work for me. Use my iPad to work on my presentations. Just run the world from my iPad. That is Patrick's goal. And so if you have an iPad, let me know. I'll buy it from you. No, I'm just kidding. There's one right here in front of me. That's where all my show notes are on. But happy, what is it? Monday, September 16th. We're going to go ahead and wrap this show up. For those of you that are watching live, thank you very much. One of the lower thirds down here I did not put up is that these shows are slowly but surely getting out on the podcast also. And the podcast is on Amazon Music. It's on Spotify. It's on radio.com. It's obviously on iTunes, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts. It's on iHeartRadio. When you get a chance, if you could help me out, if I've ever said anything that's been really useful for you, if you could go probably specifically to Apple Podcasts and leave, a 5-star rating if you thought the information was good. And same with those other platforms. Any kind of rating you can leave that helps boost the visibility of the show, I would really appreciate it. And also, like you've seen on the bottom of the lower third down there, if you have a chance, please go to YouTube and subscribe. That's a metric I'm really, really trying to go to on my way to 1 gazillion users, and I believe we are at 1,200 or something, 1,200 subscribers, something like that. Happy Monday, September 16th. Thank you for watching. If you're watching live, thank you for watching the recording. If you're watching the recording, and thank you for listening. if you are listening on the podcast. This has been Patrick Almond from Stop Doing Nothing Media, because sometimes you just forget the name of your own company. Thank you for watching and have a great, great day. And I will see you on September 18th back here at 9 a.m. U.S. Central. Okay? Take care and have a great day.